Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm sure you're asking yourself, hey, this voice seems the same yet different. And you'd be absolutely right, because this is not Lance Flatow. This is the one and only, the Poop Room Reviewer. Only I'm on this side of the camera. I'm on this side of the throne. And so I felt like, and so I'm actually just watching over the poop cast today for Lance Flatow. He's out still probably protesting his revolt against the POOP newsroom. Still think he's trying to get his job back. Not sure how that's going to go, but it's all right. No worries. So actually I wanted to use this and make it another new era of poop room reviews. And do it based on something new that I've never really done before, and it's actually based off of an artist who I'm sure a lot of you have seen on Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube, or any kind of social media network. He's in a lot of shorts. His name is Dax, DAX. He does a lot of music videos. He has songs called Dear Alcohol, Depression, just various other songs that are touch a wide array of themes and moods that go based off of any kind of subject material. And some of it's joking, some of it are just remixes of current songs. But the two that I want to really touch home based about, because they affect me personally, is there's a song called Depression. That's the first song. There's the wording of it, and for those who haven't heard, I do recommend you going and listening to the lyrics. And if you deal with any kind of mental health issues like depression, anxiety, any kind of thing like that is basically kind of frowned to speak on, is I want you to listen to this song, and I want you to really take in what he's saying. It's basically saying, hey, like, this is the chaos of, that goes on in one's brain. Like, this is the issues here. Like, you always want to be there to build up someone else, sometimes at the risk of your own well-being. Depression to me is a personal struggle that I've dealt with for over 25 years. I'm not ashamed of it. I've never hid from it. I have always found alternative methods of therapy. I started off in high school writing poetry to moving on to stories. And but that's my escape. And even in his song, and in a lot of his songs, he touches on the idea of religion. He touches on God, the devil, the Bible, different verses, and angels and demons. So he kind of intertwines the idea, religion into his songs. But also there's a part in the song where he goes, oh, I'm paying a man to tell me that, I can take two pills with a meal and it'll basically numb my pain. I can probably attest that, yes, well, this is pretty much the solution nowadays, where they recommend that, but that's not for everyone. I mean, human beings are meant to express emotion. We're meant to express an array of emotion that go far beyond just your positive happiness, overjoy, excitement. And it's because we hide that, almost like we're ashamed of it, that we have these negative emotions, is what's probably causing, a lot of this widespread episodes of depression. So that this first song that he plays, Depression, I'm not going to play, obviously, because copyright issues and all the very other things that will be going on. Is it for me personally, and I can only tell you for how it impacted me, is the first few times I heard it, it really touched me into my heart, and honestly made me cry. I'm not going to lie. It made me realized that, hey, like, it's okay to feel this way. Like, I remember a couple years ago, actually two years to this day, my wife actually had a miscarriage, and then I took a week off from work, and then came back, and and one of the doctors was like, hey, we're going to give you this medicine, because to cope with it, and I said no, but my first thought was, I'm allowed to feel pain. Like, this was a traumatic event, and I'm allowed to be impacted, and to and to mourn the loss. Um, but it also, the song also brings forth that, hey, like, you're not alone, and that's really the biggest thing with depression, is that you always want to feel alone. You always want to push people away, go, make it about you. And in reality, that's not what it's all about. And I know that you guys don't come to this channel to to hear me talk about serious stuff, because there is so much out there that is serious. But I can't say this is going to be one that is truly about. And again, I do hope you guys go visit him on Facebook or YouTube or whatever your preference is, because he is truly a talented artist that can create. And I use the word artist because that is truly what he does. He uses the imagery of his words to create a story and to create the emotion, to help portray the emotion that he's trying to come across. Sorry. And that's just the first song, and I didn't want to get too heavy on it, because the second song, to me, that I'm going to tell you about is more what I feel is the more important of the ones, and it's I believe it's called, like, as a man, or if I was a man. I forgot what it is, but it's a fairly recent one. And it kind of shows the various stereotypes that exist out there as men, that really don't get talked about, and it's honestly things that are passed on from generation to generation that have caused all the divisiveness in our society, where you have a generation that wants to continue to portray certain emotions, certain feelings, certain traits over others, and realize that things but without realizing that maybe things are not the same as they were 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. The pretty much the meaning of it is basically saying, hey, like, this is just basically, the whole song is literally just a story, a thing about how the struggle that men deal with. I mean, you're struggling between realizing that, hey, like, my purpose out there is to just go to work, make money, and and to not bring it home, and to not to weigh down your spouse or your children or your family with emotion. And we can all pretty much attest to this. And again, this is not something that we should be ashamed about. We all have a right to embrace emotions, and more importantly, we have to start learning how to communicate, not just husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, so on and so forth. I mean, as together, as a society, as a unit, and truly communicate as individuals, not so much as saying, well, hey, I'm this, you're that, or I'm this, you're that. It's more about, hey, this is me. Because at the end of the day, once we peel back all the layers, and as Shrek once said, ogres are like onions. Well, humans are like onions. We have layer upon layer upon layer, and in our core, we're all the same. And that's where we lose it. We lose it as, we're so blinded by the cover of what we look like. We're so blinded by the things that make us different. But we're lose the fact that because we've become so enamored with with the outing, with the out covers. Whatever if we're talking about like a book, there's that cover, there's that, oh, this is the title. Well, the title is going to be your name. And we become so enamored with what's on the title, with what's on the back, with what's on the spine of the book, that what we see on that first page, that we don't ever want to go deeper into it and say, wow, this is how this person got to this point. It's always, well, I see this person as A, so that must mean, and so they must, and we kind of build our own backstory. We must go, oh man, they must have, like, no, like, we are all different. There's literally over 1 billion people in the world. There's no way we have the same stories. And it would be nice sometimes if we actually opened ourselves up. Like believe me, as I'm a 6'2", in his 30s male, and there are times where when I speak, and I don't think I'm the smartest or the dumbest. I just know that I can probably verbalize and communicate my words a lot better when it comes down to the emotional side and understanding the emotional side. Because you could say one thing 1,001 different ways, and it'll be heard 1,001 different ways, even though you only intended it to say it one way. But getting back to this artist, Dax, I cannot say enough. I can tell you that both of these songs have truly impacted me. And again, I want you to look them up on YouTube or Facebook. You can look at shorts. He does very funny shorts. But if you listen to the whole song, you're going to be absolutely amazed and touched. A lot of his songs have amazing rhythms and beats and tempos. But these two in particular definitely will touch you. I mean, and even for like women, I recommend this song as well because it kind of brings to light what the stereotypes of what it is to be a man, and it'll kind of give everyone an appreciation to say, hey, like, these are things. This is true. Like, it's not just, we're not just cookie cut. We're not just putting ourselves in a box and going, hey, this is me. No, we're saying, hey, each of us has our own box and each of us is different. Dax is an amazing artist. I will truly tell you that I have cried plenty of tears, and definitely when I look at my son every morning, I look at him and I go, you know what? He doesn't care how much money I make. He doesn't care what job I have. He doesn't care what car I drive or what I'm wearing. He just cares that his dad comes home to him and smiles and picks him up and throws him in the air like he just don't care. And I do recommend him. I do recommend Dax. I do recommend you listen to these songs. I mean, he's got 1,000 other songs. And it is truly powerful. Maybe next week when I come up with my next poop cast, it'll be something a bit lighter. I am working on a few different ideas. But I felt like this one was more appropriate based off the fact that it was, Memorial Day was just about a couple of days ago, and then the anniversary of my wife's miscarriage, and then hearing, the song just within the last few minutes for like the 100th time, I felt like it was right and appropriate for me to express how these songs made me feel and help promote this artist because of truly how talented he is. So I'm going to reel you in. I'm going to throw a little, maybe I'll throw a sinker or a floater. I haven't quite decided yet. But it is I, and hopefully Lance Flatt too will quit his brigade against the POOP network, and he will flush what he has going on. So whether you're a sinker or a floater, you're one of the poopers.